This country was founded and built by people with great dreams and the courage to take great risks. This is a quote I selected for Carmelo just because of his natural risk-taking and giving presentations and speeches here at the club, and I was not aware of the topic of his speech, but it nicely dovetails with it. Toastmaster Carmelo Belardo III is our next speaker. He has been a Winter Park Toastmaster for 18 months and is extremely happy with his progress on his track to becoming a better communicator. Recently, with the Memorial Day holiday, Carmelo was humbled with his thoughts of those American service people who have died for our country. He feels that in our country, freedom is sometimes taken for granted, and he wishes to express his appreciation for all Americans who have served our country, especially those who've died for it. In a project out of the Entertaining Speaker Manual, please welcome Toastmaster Carmelo Belardo III with his talk entitled, "The Least I Can Do."
Ever since I was a boy, history has been my favorite subject. I always got A's in history. I've always been fascinated by the events of history. And sometimes, when my wife breaks my chops for watching too much TV, I say to her, "Hey honey, it's the History Channel. You know, you might want to come and watch this too. Learn something." As a Christian, some of the holidays I celebrate are Christmas and Easter, for obvious reasons. As an American, even more scintillating are the holidays of Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and Independence Day. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you may be thinking the reasons I look forward to these holidays are for the cold beer and the barbecues, but I've got greater purposes for these special days. You see, I never served in the great protector that is the volunteer United States military. I have some great friends who have served our country, and some of them are in this room. And this past week was Memorial Day. I celebrated by replacing my everyday American flag with my special American flag. This is my American flag. It's 15 feet long by 10 feet high. When I fly this flag between two large oak trees in front of my house, horns blow as cars drive by. Some people even stop to take pictures with my flag. Flying this flag is my way of paying homage to all the people that have served our country. My freedom was and is still being paid for by these people and their sacrifice. And many, many Americans paid the ultimate price. Recently I was watching the movie Saving Private Ryan for the umpteenth time, and the opening and closing scene of this movie are the most touching for me. Sure, the first battle scene when our troops are approaching Omaha Beach, where 2,374 men died, some of them even before they reached the beach. That was life-changing for me. The perspective of battle in that scene is like no other. But the final scene in that movie, when James Ryan, standing at the foot of the cross at Normandy, in front of Captain John Miller's cross, remembering the ultimate sacrifice of Captain Miller, Sergeant Horvath, Private Jackson, Mellish, Carpazzo, and Medic Wade, remembering their sacrifice so that James Ryan can come back home and become a grandfather. He says to his wife, "Tell me I've led a good life. Tell me I'm a good man." He wants to feel like his life was worthy of the sacrifice of those men. think about freedom, and I think about the ultimate price that so many have paid. The least I can do is honor them on Memorial Day. Usually, when I see a veteran wearing a hat or a shirt signifying their service, I stop and I acknowledge them, and I thank them for their service. I tell them, I owe my freedom to you. Some of us haven't forgotten that. And every time, I'm the one that's thanked for my gratitude. The humility with these people is a constant. I've not met one veteran in my whole life that takes credit. They give full credit to others. And I guess that humility comes from the fact that every single one of them probably knows somebody who's died for us. They died for us, for freedom. On the evening of Memorial Day, I watched a documentary of interviews of some older veterans who were recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now, to us who've never served this country, this is a big deal. To these guys, it was a big deal too, but not for reasons you might think. None of these men expressed pride, any pride, in the fact that they received the Congressional Medal of Honor. One elder man said, "This medal is not mine. It belongs to all the kids that never made it back to become grandfathers." Another said, "I'd just as soon die than to take credit for what happened that day." These guys hold that medal for their fallen comrades, not for themselves. I have 2 daughters now, and my goal has always been to instill confidence in them and to teach them how to make decisions. Another important goal is to instill in them an appreciation for the men and women who have served and continue to serve our country. My older daughter, Alessia, she's usually mortified when she's with me and she sees someone approaching with a hat on or a shirt signifying service, because she knows what's going to happen. She's easily embarrassed. But my hope is that one day my daughters learn to appreciate their freedom in their country as much as I do, and can humbly thank others for their sacrifice, because it's the least we can do as the Toastmasters. Good job.